Hey, let's get started here. I'm so excited. It's Lori Alvarez, and I'm going to share a little bit of my story today in real estate, right? That's what I'm going to share today. I was having a conversation this morning with my daughter-in-law. If you all don't know who she is, her name is Destiny. She is an amazing woman, and she's married into my family here in the last year. And one of the things that I said to her is, what would you like to know as you aspire to buy your first home, right? Because that's what the dream is, to buy your first home or buy your dream home or move your life forward in such a way that things just are moving forward, right? They're great. And that was exciting to just have that conversation with her. Have you had that conversation before? Because it was exciting for me to say, like, what do you need to know as a buyer? So I wanted to share my story, right? Because this is really what the journey's about. It's about how I bought my first home, right? My story. That's what I'm going to share with you right now. So I kind of did some reflection on that this morning. And this morning I was kind of thinking about like, oh, when did I buy my first home? So guess what? I was 27 years old. I was married with 2 babies, 27, buying my first home. Married, 2 babies, a hubby. We had a dog and we had a cat, right? That was our life. That's what we were doing. And I was like, I didn't have a clue. I wasn't a realtor at the time. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And honestly, I didn't really have any money. And you do need money to buy a house. That's just how life is. You can't buy a house with nothing down. Oh yeah, I know. You can. And is it the wisest way to buy real estate? I don't know, right? But I can tell you this. I barely had any money. My husband and I barely had any money. And yet I had this burning desire to get a home, to buy my first home, to buy a place that I could just say, like we spoke in the last podcast, right? A space that's safe for me and my family.
One second.
Desire to get a home, to buy my first home, to buy a place,
No, that was right. Okay. So.
Yet I had this burning desire to get a home. See, this is live. We're actually recording the podcast now too, which is cool. Right? I love it.
All right.
So my podcast producer just said, hey, hold on a minute. So I have to stop the story. You guys, that's what live is, right? Yeah, we have to stop the story. So
if you can pick it up from that burning desire to buy a house.
I'm picking up from burning desire, guys. All right. So here's the deal. I had this burning desire to buy a house. And not only did I have a burning desire to buy a house, I wanted to buy my house in San Dimas. How did I know that at 27 years old? Well, here's the deal. I was 14, right? And my parents were divorced. And I used to always come to Covina Hills because that's where my daddy lived. And my daddy would bring me down into San Dimas. And I would come down San Dimas Ave. And I would see this gorgeous street with these beautiful craftsman homes. And I would be like, wow, one day I want to live here. I want to have this really cool front porch with this really cool family. Yeah, 4 sons is what I wanted when I was 14. Is that crazy? And that's what I ended up with, 4 sons. And it's just like I could completely 100% visualize what it was, who it was, where it was, but I just didn't know who the players were, right? I didn't know. And so, guess what? 27, 2 babies, and a hubby. So I got a few players. And now I got to figure out how I'm going to come up with a little bit of money to buy my first house. And I got to figure out who's going to help me buy my first house. Well, I did what anyone would do who doesn't have a clue. I opened up the Penny Saver and saw an ad for, do you want to buy a house in San Dimas? Call me. I did that. I called a realtor, right? I picked up a phone and I said, hey, Helen Can-do Canedo. That was her name. I think she's even still out there selling real estate today as we speak. I called her and I said, hey, girlfriend, I want to buy a house in San Dimas. Is there like first-time home buyer programs? Because I don't have any money. Tell me how to do this. I got a father-in-law who's been super cool and says he's going to give me some cash to help me buy my first house. And I've got a hubby who has a little bit of money saved because we were diligent at paying away all of our debt and just kind of saving up a little money here and there. Yeah, that's what I did. That was how we figured it out. Well, Helen called me back and she said, I'd love to help you. She said, Lori, I would love to help you. And I said, fantastic, let's do this, Helen Can-do Canedo. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm lost. I'm a kid with some kids and a husband and no money. And I want to buy my house in San Dimas. You know what that house was? 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 946 square feet, tiny little box. Yes, a tiny little box. But wait a minute. I need a loan. I didn't know how to do that. Well, thankfully, Helen knew who to do that, knew how to do that, knew who I needed to talk to. She linked me up with what everyone knows in San Dimas. Like, he's awesome. Wally Nikowitz, right? He was my lender. He did my loan. He helped me out. He showed me the way. Yeah. That's how it happened. Truly, honestly. I had this guy who sat down with my husband and I, and he said, okay, guys, you don't have any money. Yeah, you're right. We don't have any money, but we want to buy a house. How do we do that? Please help me. And he did. He helped me. He helped us. He helped our family. And he started my journey to home ownership, right? But it all started with my dream, my story, my desire, my willingness to overcome change, my willingness to say, you know what, I'm moving forward. Everyone else in the world can say, oh, you can't buy a house, or oh, it's scary, or you got to time the market, or you got to do this, or you got to do that, right? I was like, nope, I'm buying a house. I don't care if it's the right time in the market or not, because I didn't have a clue. I just knew I wanted to buy a house, and I wanted a safe space for me and my babies. That's what I wanted. And yeah, my hubby too. Right? But back then I was so independent. Like, I can do this. You're just coming along for the ride, right? And the reality is he and I have really grown, because then we bought our first house. When did we buy it? Here's the reality. I got the numbers for you. I bought it in 2000, the year 2000. You know how much that 946 square foot box was in the year 2000? Well, it was $170,000. That's how much it was in San Dimas. Do you know how much that house is today in San Dimas? Oh, it's like $450, right around there. $170,000 though. I bought my first house. And do you know how much money I had to put down? What it took for me to get into that? Well, it took about $13,950 that I didn't have. And yet I did it, right? Here's the deal. My father-in-law gifted me $8,000. My hubby and I, we saved a little bit of money, and I believe the lender probably gave us a little bit of a credit too. And with all of that help, we bought our first house. That was pretty cool. It was pretty exciting, right? Not only did we buy our first house, but we bought our first house with a front porch. It was a front porch. It was so cool. I knew it as soon as I pulled up to it. I had I knew exactly that was my home. Completely. No doubts. And let me tell you, home buyers, you'll know it's your home when it happens. I can promise you that, right? And so here it was, year 2000, 2 babies, a hubby, and a dog. We're 27, and we bought our first house. And guess what we did? In 2002, we sold it. Is that crazy? We sold it. And do you want to know how much we sold it for? $215,000. 2 years later, $215,000. So, what was my equity gain in 2 years? Do the math. $46,000. I made $46,000. I was a 29-year-old kid with 2 kids and a hubby, and now a dog and another dog and 2 cats, right? Like, I don't know that I was even a stay-at-home mom, so I don't know that I was really saving up $47,000. And yet the real estate market did it for me, right? That's pretty awesome. If I just got to say, the deal is it did cost me $12,000 to make the next move. And they all say out there like, oh, you can't buy and sell at the same time. I don't believe that. That's not true because I did it through the hottest market ever, right? So when that realtor out there discourages your dream, say, no, baby, this is my dream. You're not changing it, right? Because it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. And you got to have someone who believes in you like I do. Now look, $46,000. I took all $46,000 and I moved right into my second house, right? That was on 3rd Street in San Dimas. It was super cool. Another front porch house. I was excited, like I was living my dream. I was living my dream and I wasn't going to let anyone take that away. Not a soul. Because it's my dream, it's my life, and I'm going to move it forward in the way that I want to, right? And that house was 2 blocks away, and it was home sweet home for us. And yeah, we sold our house and closed and bought the next house all on the same day. So don't let anyone tell you it's not possible in the hottest market, because it is. But you got to have the right people in place to make it happen. So at that time, was it the same realtor? No. Now it was all Wally. He was fantastic. He helped us through the whole transaction. He stayed in touch, just like we do, right? So here's the deal. I bought that house. My hubby and I lived there. We had 2 more kids. Oh my gosh. Now we're in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That's about 1,200 square feet. And honestly, we thought it was 1,400 square feet because we didn't know, and we thought someone had told us it was 1,400 square feet. But when you're buying a house, it's all really overwhelming, right? And you just don't have a clue. You don't pull all the information in. And we bought that house. We bought that house for $289,500 in June of 2002. That's what we did, right? And guess what happened next? You better believe it. We outgrew it and we moved again. It's what we did, right? 2002, 2006, 4 years later. Yeah, 4 years later. Our friends were saying like, man, are you guys hiding from someone? What the heck? You keep moving. Our buddies were tired of answering our calls to help us move because we kept moving. And guess what? More equity again, right? So what did we make in equity this time around? Well, we bought it for $289,500, and you better believe it, we moved again, and when we moved again, we sold it for $527,000. Kind of feels like you hit the lottery, right? When was that? That was in 2006. What happened right after then? You probably wonder. You're probably thinking, gosh, there was a little bit of a change, right? You better believe it. 2007, there went the market, right? That's exactly what happened next. So, cost to purchase was $65,000. So we spent $65,000 because we always put 20% down once we got into our first house. We moved to 20% down for the next second house and then the third house. We did that. And when we moved into number 3 house, what happened? We put about $280,000 down on the next house. How do you save $280,000 in 4 years? I don't know. I wasn't rich. I sure wasn't going to be able to save $280,000 in 4 years. I was still a stay-at-home mom at this time. I wasn't saving any money. So we did all of this on one income and one income alone. So don't tell me you can't buy a house, because you can. You can. I know you can, because I did it myself. Stay-at-home mom, one income, with a hubby who busted his butt and did everything he could to provide for us. You guys can do that too. Don't give up on your dreams, right? So we moved into house number 3. And guess what? We dropped all $275,000 into that house. And that was in January 30th, 2006. The day before I think it was like our 5th anniversary. Very cool. 6th, 7th, I don't know, something like that. I didn't do that math. But what I did do is I haven't sold it yet because then the market crashed. Oh my gosh, the market crashed. What are you going to do with that, right? The market just crashed. My house was slowly declining in value, and I had dropped all my money into it. Now, I have to tell you, my husband inputted here. He said, babe, I think the market's going to crash. Maybe we should just rent for a little bit and put our money in the bank. And I said, babe, this house we're buying is like our forever house. So there's no point in doing that. We're just going to buy it and we're just going to hang out in it until the market recovers. And that's exactly what we did. We hunkered down and we hung out. Now I'm thankful we didn't have any life-changing circumstances during the crash, right? And when was that crash? Well, it was 2009 to 2011. 2011 was definitely the bottom of the market. Definitely the bottom of the market, because by this time now I was in real estate, because guess what? Who would start their real estate market career, their lifetime dream, right as the market crashes? Well, of course I did. And what was I thinking? People tell me, Lori, why are you so successful in real estate? Well, of course, I don't know any other market except to bust my butt. That's what I did. I worked hard. I hustled. I did what I had to do because now I decide to sell real estate when there's short sells. Well, Lori, what the heck is a short sell? Well, it's what happened to my house. I bought it for $560,000 and it dropped to its lowest value at $350,000. Can you imagine? Do the math there, $220,000 or so, $200,000 just gone. All of it gone. But was it really mine? Did I really earn it? That's all perspective. What does matter is that I hung out and I spent the time with my family growing and investing in that house. I stayed there. I didn't say, oh, my house isn't worth this anymore, so now I'm going to move on. I didn't do that. No, I just said, I'm going to hang out. We're going to hang out. We're going to wait. And we've been there. We've loved it. We've invested in it. We've spent, since being there, we've spent another $150,000 or so in improvements, right? We've done that. We've loved it. It's our home sweet home. Is it our forever home? I don't think so, because I still have one more move in me, to be completely honest. Don't tell my husband, though. He'll get kind of nervous about that. So here's the deal, right? The market started recovering in 2012. That was pretty cool. Market slowly recovering. Well, if you all remember, and maybe you don't, and this is a lot of information, and we're going to talk more about it in 2 weeks when we have another podcast interview with an awesome lender who knows so much more about loans. But I'm going to tell you right now that my interest rate back then was 6%. And then when the market started recovering, interest rates were like 2.25% and 3%. And guess what? I could not touch that interest rate. You want to know why? Because I didn't want to pay private mortgage insurance. Do you want to know what that is? Well, tune in next time because we're going to talk more about that. Like, real estate's an ongoing story. But here's the deal. I finally was able, let me look, I refinanced, my husband and I refinanced in 2015. Now, think about this. In 2006, we bought the house with a 30-year loan at a 6% interest rate. And then all our equity went away. So we couldn't refinance because then I would have paid like $300 a month extra for private mortgage insurance, and I wasn't about to do that. So I waited. In 2015 happened, and my equity went back up. Finally, my house about 2015 was worth, again, about $550, give or take it, a couple bucks here or there. Well, I refinanced. No, not to a 30-year loan. I refinanced to a 15-year loan. So if you do the math, right, I just shaved 7 years off my loan, and I dropped my interest rate to just under 3%. What a savings! Now, was I brilliant? Do I know all of this? Sure, I was just a stupid kid trying to figure it all out, talking to all the right people to help me move forward in my dreams. Right? Yes, I was a realtor at that time too. So guess what? I was with all the right lenders, talking to them, waiting and waiting and waiting. And I got that refinance. And my hubby and I, we're going to be like, we're 46 now, and our house is going to be paid off in about 7 years. So the idea of moving to him is kind of crazy, and it's a very responsible decision. And yet, there's some things in our life that make it priceless for us to make that next move. And that's exactly what happens for you. So don't you let anyone or everyone take away your dream. Because my dream, my family's dream, is to help move you forward in getting your home. That's what we do. That's who we are. We're Lori Alvarez and team. We help you find your next home sweet home. We help you sell your home so that you can do what you need to do. And how do we do that? We just give you wisdom. We give you knowledge. We give you advice. We do what we think makes best sense for you and your story. This is my story. This is how I'm succeeding. And as you saw, there was some fails in the midst of that I've learned from. But I'm thankful for them because they've moved me forward so that I continue to win. Because you won't win unless you're moving yourself forward always in anything and everything you do. Don't let anyone take your story away. Go live it fully because it's exciting. I'm thankful for mine. And I got so much more to share with you and so much more story, wisdom, guidance, knowledge when it comes to real estate, right? We're going to help you move forward when the time makes sense for you. Thanks again.